Welcome to Medically Speaking. Our guest today is Dr. Ken Snyder, a neurosurgeon at the Gates Vascular Institute and the Director of Physician Quality for Kaleida Health. Doc, thanks for joining us today.
Mike, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
So it's the 10th anniversary of the Vascular Institute, and we wanted to spend a few minutes talking about how you guys got here and a look back at your days at Miller Gates before we talk about how things are going today. So if you can, let's start back in 2012. You were part of the stroke team, really cutting edge program. What were you guys anticipating? What was it like, coming out of 2012 and the stroke care program at the old hospital?
Sure. We had quite a robust cutting edge program under the leadership of Dr. Hopkins, and a lot of other services in that hospital were slowly moving out. And so what was happening is the neurosurgical and neurovascular service lines were filling the entire hospital system. And what that allowed us to do is really almost develop a hospital within a hospital type of concept. The emergency room became acutely aware of neurosurgical disease and neurologic disease. And I mean, again, to the point that we had incredible emergency room physicians that were not only diagnosing, but being involved in neurosurgical and neuroendovascular care directly to imaging, where most of the imaging that was done there, we had 2 dedicated neuroimaging radiologists on staff all the time. And so what happened was the whole hospital had a very attuned sense of the importance and emergence of stroke treatment, stroke diagnosis, stroke care, transport. Everyone knew the patient, saw recovery. And so what that allowed to happen was this unexpected development of an expertise or specialization from every service line that touched the patient. And so it really built the foundation for, if we could build something from scratch, what would we want it to be? And everyone had a wish list of their own because of all of the different experience that they had. And we were able to not only take that stroke idealized idea, but then partner with cardiac, partner with vascular, partner with others and say, what would it look like to build a dream institution for all of us?
Yeah, so our viewers probably didn't know some of that history in terms of how the hospital kind of evolved the last year or two that it was open. So that almost dry run that you guys had in terms of a hospital within the hospital probably led to a lot of anticipation for the planning and getting ready to move to the new institute. What was it like there, and knowing that that anticipation was building up, knowing that everybody was coming together, you would have that collision of cardiac and stroke and neurovascular, vascular, but you would have a brand new facility, a brand new technology, you'd have a brand new footprint. What was that anticipation like?
A lot of excitement, especially for leaders like Dr. Hopkins and Levy that embrace change, and a lot of animosity and concern in that how are all the cultures going to move and how are we going to maintain such a close family feel? And so it was a mixed bag. The things that drove us forward was the ability to realize some of the inefficiencies around the transfer of a patient's care through all of their needs because of the way the hospital was built in the infrastructure. Just something as subtle as, you mean that an emergency room or an ambulance bringing a patient for stroke care never even has to go through the emergency room? They can go right through a triage area, go right to imaging, all on the same floor. And again, what's dramatically innovative, we've now, with collaboration with Kaleida Health and administration, the executive leadership, and Canon, have the ability to treat them now right on the table in the emergency room. This was unheard of, but the foundations for this were all set up and in place from what we learned at GVI. Dr. Hopkins, Dr. Levy, Dr. Siddiqui, visionary leadership in terms of embrace technology, embrace change, build it the way we want it, and now it's becoming a reality.
Pretty amazing stuff. When you talk about some of the things that were improved for patients or physicians, you mentioned one, that door to treatment time, obviously, and now having an imaging capability. And then for the physicians, the ability to work together and have those collisions and have cardiac and stroke docs work together. What are a couple other improvements that, the average person may not understand have occurred since the GVI is open?
Sure. My partner, Dr. Siddiqui, was trying to take care of an extremely complex vascular lesion in the brain in a young individual. And in fact, one of the only ways we could think of curing it was actually stopping the individual's heart. And Dr. Siddiqui happened to be having a cup of coffee with our head of cardiology, VJ Iyer, and we're just talking about their day and a problem that we were trying to solve. And Dr. Siddiqui said, I really wish we could just stop this kid's heart in a very controlled and easy way so that I could try and glue shut and cure this vascular problem. And what did Dr. Iyer say? I stop the heart every single day. I put a wire inside the heart and I make it beat so rapidly that it doesn't beat efficiently and the blood pressure drops. And then I take my finger off the button and it goes back to normal. The idea is so simple, and yet two service lines have never collaborated on mutually solving a combined problem. This was a few years ago, and Dr. Iyer came over, put the wire into the heart, stopped the heart effectively by making it beat fast. Dr. Siddiqui cured this very, very rare, difficult vascular lesion, and it really revolutionized the treatment for this now. But think of how simple the solution was, had two experts from different fields spent time problem solving together. It was one of, again, our key aha moments, but was always the vision under Dr. Hopkins and Dr. Levy of why we all need to be out of our service line and problem solving together. And then that bleeds over into we help each other. If I have an access problem, the interventional radiologists, the vascular surgeons are helping me. If I have a problem anywhere else, if we're working on the head and somebody goes into heart failure, has a heart issue, the cardiac surgeons are in our room working together. If they need us, we're there. Sometimes if patients need two things done, a cardiac angiogram and a neck or head, we collaborate, do it all in one visit. Used to be they'd come in for multiple visits. So these are all the wins in terms of patient care and collaboration. And then just us all getting to know each other means we have a lower resistance to call each other and problem solve together. One of Dr. Levy's incredible innovations for this entire community was helping bring in and spearhead a technology that helps us read images on CAT scans all over the entire community, even before a neuroradiologist or someone else has read the scan in another institution. So what we are able to currently do is if any patient anywhere in the community has a CAT scan that's done, we get a message to our phone if there's a large vessel occlusion or if there's a hemorrhage. So that almost even before the patient is back in whatever emergency room they're in our community, we're already calling and asking, how is this patient? Does the patient need to come to us? How can we help care for the individual? That is revolutionary technology that allows us to take the expertise and spread it across the entire community.
Yeah, right here in little old Buffalo, New York. Who would know, right? It's been 10 years now. For the average consumer or the viewers out there, why is the GVI still the destination for stroke care?
Yeah, I think what Dr. Hopkins and Dr. Levy built is a combined building along with Kaleida Health and all of our service lines, an ability to care for patients on the bottom 4 floors, deliver exceptional care, crossing service lines. It then built a vascular research institute above it so that cutting edge basic science research was being done. And it then built a translational science center so that any advancement in technology could be done in clinical trials and then immediately put into place in our clinical environment. We used to have to drive all over town to try and get this done. So as we were thinking through with the cardiologists and other people, what would the idealized center be? It would be caring for patients, teaching and doing research all at the same time. And so it was built into the infrastructure of the building. We were doing so many clinical trials, over 60 in our own department alone, that the FDA was coming here 4 to 6 times a year just to make sure, how could this be? How can these trials be done well? And how can they be done this quality? After 3 years of constantly coming in and appropriately watching all of our clinical work, guess what happened? The head of the neurovascular division of the FDA left his job and came here and works with us in the Jacobs Institute. That innovator and regulator has now had 4 first-in-man trials by helping us bring new technology forward, do the pre-FDA approval trial work here, get them approved, and then do the first clinical trials. So we're just extremely fortunate. It's like the perfect storm of everything someone could dream of to work in. You've got the advancement of the greatest technology that's out there. You've got an infrastructure constantly looking to do research, study what we do, and do trials in a safe fashion. You've got all of the oversight and quality management expertise to ensure it's not the Wild West, but it's done safely. And then we've got the technological and regulatory expertise to actually change paradigms of care. I mean, who could think in our lifetime stroke has revolutionarily changed? It used to be a medicine if you showed up in the right time frame. Now it's, I don't care when the stroke occurred or if we don't know, we can look at the physiology of your brain and we can take the clots out and recover function. In our lifetime, the entire paradigm's changed. And the incredible news is we've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, when you talk about the GVI and the advancements, the technology, the partnership and collaboration with the docs, we can feel and sense your passion and how proud you are of the Institute. If you can, you talked about we have a lot to come. Let's wrap up with the question of what do you foresee over the next 5 to 10 years when it comes to stroke care and the things you're working on now?
Sure. I think there's two incredible areas of opportunity for advancement. One of them is we've realized that the tools that we use to help take clots out can actually work as electrodes, and these can be sensors or direct stimulators. Functional neurosurgery and the ability to apply electrodes to a computer interface will happen in our lifetime. There will be computer-brain interfaces, and we are setting ourselves up to be on the frontier of that development and of that research. The next area really pioneering is in rehabilitation. There are a lot of people still that suffer strokes. They may not die from them, but they have deficits. How can we, with technology, with AI, with VR, improve and enhance the stroke patient's capabilities, ability to recover potentially faster or potentially do more and have more meaningful recovery? Another area of major advancement, I think, is going to be in risk factor reduction. The surgeries that we perform, as amazing as they are still very dramatic surgeries to the blood vessels, where we're not doing anything to fix the genes. We will start to revolutionize medicine if we can start to combat atherosclerosis and reduce its risk, put something in that actually ensures it doesn't occur again. I have patients that say, Dr. Snyder, it's the third time you're fixing my carotid. Can you do it right? The problem is the blood vessels regrow over themselves and the atherosclerosis begins again. I can't fix the genes. And so what I'm doing is preventing a major stroke by constantly keeping the vessel open. The minute I can put something in that proactively will start to stop that atherosclerotic event, we will very much so revolutionize stroke treatment and risk factor reduction in the blood vessels.
Just tremendous news coming out of the GVI. Doc, 10 years of success. Congratulations to you and the team there. Wishing you guys all the best moving forward.
Thanks for the support, the collaboration. It takes an entire community, and we're just blessed to do what we do. Thank you.